What if I will tell you that I have a foolproof strategy that will help you remove resistance from your life and create an incredible magnetism and flow? Because life does not have to feel like an uphill battle. In this video, I'm going to break down the specific energetic authenticity that you need to apply so that you stop walking against life and actually utilize the collaboration of the universe for you to get onto the path of your purpose. Let's dig deep. Welcome to the Human Design Portal, your safe space to decondition so that you can align with the right people, opportunities, and chances. If you're new here, my name is Micah Gabriela, and I'm a human design reader, a deconditioning expert, and the founder of the Transformational Human Design Certification and the Soft Power membership. And if you're interested in understanding your human design deeper, there's so many resources linked down below. I am here to support you to create an extraordinary life. So if you want to learn more about how you can leverage your uniqueness, then hit the subscribe button. Then never miss the cellular activations that will awaken your dormant DNA to create a beautiful, aligned, and fulfilling life. I can definitely share from my experience that there has been so many points in my life where I just felt like I was hitting my head against the wall with no results. I was doing everything I should be doing. I was watching all of the videos, finding all of the resources, learning and applying, and still I wasn't seeing results. And that made me feel so like shit because I'm like, what's wrong with me? Why does it work for them? Why are they having success? While having this such strong desire in my heart to create something meaningful with my life, and deep down knowing that I have so much more to give. And I know that you resonate with that because you wouldn't be sitting here listening to this video if you didn't feel a strong calling in your soul to figure out how you can give yourself better to the world. And so what happens is that we grow up with these societal norms, we grow up with these rules, we grow up with these limitations from our environment, from society, that don't allow us to think big, that make us believe that we have to copy somebody else's path in order to find success. But I'm here to tell you that there is a very clear strategy that you can start implementing the second this video is over into your life and see immediate result. I'm not saying it's going to be the easiest because we have to overcome our limitations, but there is this foolproof method that I have tried with thousands of my clients and that has literally changed my life. That is the most easy to follow process the moment that you trust your authentic self. Let's dig deep. So here's the thing. The last 400 years, we've been influenced by this background frequency called the cross of planning. This is an energy that has made us move in a tribal way. Tribal way means that we have sacrificed our own needs and our own desires for the best of our community, for the best of our tribe. We're bargaining, we're following rules, we're following institutions telling us what's right and what's wrong. And as we're moving into this new paradigm, and as we're moving into this new consciousness shift of 2027, we're noticing that that no longer works. You know, we have these stories of the American dream where immigrants leave behind their studies in medicine to become a cab driver and then, you know, create an incredible future for their children. But we no longer want to do that sacrifice. We want to figure out, what am I here to do? What is my purpose? How can I contribute? And that is because the background frequency, the energy of the world and the consciousness is shifting. And because of that, it is incredibly important to double down on who you are uniquely, not the way other people have made things happen, but how you have made things happen. So because the last 400 years, we have been told the only way to achieve things is through consistency and through discipline, and you have to have a strategy. That no longer works, ladies and gentlemen. And honestly, I'm so happy about that because that felt so restraining and so, I don't know, I can't breathe just thinking about like having to follow ABC steps that somebody else, you know, some rules somebody else created for me. Don't subscribe to that. That doesn't light me up. And so in this video, I'm going to share how you can utilize your energetic strategy for your unique energy type so that you can start removing resistance out of your life and start creating beautiful magnetic flow, because it will allow you to tap into that radiant, unique light that only you have. And with that, you will find your shining star on the ceiling, and you won't have to compete with anybody. And you won't even have to worry about if there is going enough around. A lot of us have like scarcity mindset. Oh, there's not enough for us, there's not enough money, there's not enough success, there's not enough follower. Yes, there is. You are uniquely you, and there is nobody in the whole world that's going to be able to express, share, and contribute in the unique way that you have come to contribute. And so once we stop looking at what everybody else is doing and we start really tuning into who we are, what we've been through, without shame, without conditioning, without fearing to be judged, that is when we find our spot and we glow and we shine. And that is what creates magnetism. Because when we're afraid to say what we really think, when we are ashamed about the things we've been through and where we come from, then we will try to mold and adapt to what we have been brought up to believe is safe to exist in. And so we're not showing up as our whole authentic self. And people can smell that now than ever. You know what marketing hacks no longer work is because all of our consciousness has risen. We are starting to create something that I call energetic intelligence. The same way that we have emotional intelligence, we also have energetic intelligence. And so this is something we're just learning to cultivate. And in this video, I'm going to help you understand how your energetics will help you find the path to express your highest expression, your highest purpose, your highest self, because we can no longer accept mediocrity, and we can no longer try to hide behind comfort and behind fear for our talents and our gifts that we're meant to share with the world. So here's the thing, right? There's so many information, there's so many tools, there's so many things we can learn from ChatGPT and the internet and YouTube and TikTok. But there is one thing we're just grasping to understand, and that is the science and the intelligence of energy. And this is what I'm teaching here on the Human Design Portal, and specifically in this video, how you can leverage your energetic intelligence to start creating a path that is uniquely yours, that will generate that curiosity. It will make you magnetic because you're standing in who you've come to be, and that will demand attention. And so I'm going to look at each energy type, and I'm going to break down the strategy so that you have a very clear roadmap to start implementing into your life. Let's get into it. You're noticing resistance doing things the way that everybody has been telling you since you remember how to do things. You're feeling that people dislike you, you're coming across rude, you're just having this sense that you have so much to give and people are kind of like, ugh, disgusted or grossed out. And it's leaving you feeling bitter, it's leaving you feeling worthless, and you're just lost because you don't understand why the exact strategy works for everybody else, but it doesn't seem to work for you, my dear projector. So this is the most common feeling that you can have actually when you figure out that you're projecting human design and you understand your strategy, which is waiting for the invitation. You might have that real aha moment the way that I had it, because the moment that I realized I had to wait for an invitation before I could share my wisdom, my whole perception of everything that had ever happened to me completely changed, because I'm like, oh, it's not that I'm like a disgusting human being. It's just that I was showing up inauthentically and people could smell it. People could sense it, because we're having this shift of consciousness and we're having this energetic intelligence. And so people really read our energy, and when what we say and how we act is in disaccordance with who we're meant to be, there is this rejection. And so this is what's going to happen to you, my dearest projector. If you're trying to give people advice without understanding that you have to be seen and recognized for your gifts first, everything you say will be rejected, will kind of like jump back off and right into your face and blow up in your face, and you'll be left burned out, tired, exhausted, and sad, because you don't understand why you can see everybody else so well, but nobody seems to see all that you have to give. And so I feel like your strategy is really scary, but the way that you align with the universe is really trusting in your worth. I truly believe that you have to wait for the invitation so that you start understanding and valuing how much you have, like how big your wisdom is. Because if you would just like give it away freely, like other energy types who have more consistent energy, then you would notice the big value that you have. You really have, I always love to connect it to like alchemized gold. Like your wisdom is drops of high value gold, and you're not here to just like, you know, spread it around, but really make people beg you, make people beg you for that wisdom that you carry. And so you really have to work on internalizing that trust within yourself of like, I have nothing to prove, even though you really truly feel like you want to prove to the world. But the concept is like, you take your energy back, you work on trusting yourself, you work on that self-worth and recognizing yourself. Instead of seeing and like utilizing your penetrating aura and watching everybody else succeed, you take that energy and you watch yourself. You shower yourself with words of affirmations. You practice self-care. You really nourish the things you're interested in. So you feed your specific projector niche and you kind of like take in all of that energy and you put it into yourself. And you will start noticing how when you start looking at yourself with the value through the lens of understanding that you're here to guide people and that your success is never selfish and only here to help others, then your aura will become magnetic. And when you start showing up differently, you start showing up from a place of self-worth, and you start showing up in a way where you know who you are and what you've got to give, and you're not desperately, you know, giving your energy away for free just to get breadcrumbs of attention and breadcrumbs of recognition, and you're trying to force people to listen to you and trying to force people and convincing them of how good you are. You know how good you are. I know that you are as good as you know that you are, okay? But you need to start valuing yourself, and you need to start walking back, taking that energy back, stepping into your divine feminine energy, even if you are a male projector, okay? This is an energetic thing. Energetic intelligence is what we're cultivating on this channel, okay? So I need you to pull that back. I need you to become incredibly aware of all that you have to give, and that only when you're in this laid back, knowing position, when you're truly in your full worth, your radiance will become so magnetic that people will be drawn in. And that's one way they come to you for advice. Hey, you're so different. What are you doing? What have you been up to? What is that thing that you're so interested in? Can I also know about that thing that you're so interested in? And I always share the story that I was like for years desperate to be like part of the cool gang of the cool girls. And yeah, they were nice to me and we would hang out when there were like different people and I was, you know, whatever, like, but nobody ever invited me, just me for me. And the moment that I started doing human design and the moment that I just couldn't give a flying fuck. I'm sorry for the language, but it's really true. The moment that I just didn't care anymore. Oh, let's grab a coffee. You're doing this human design thing. I'm like, no. You're not getting a free reading, baby girl. No, you're not. But it's so interesting to have witnessed the shift, this internal shift. And it was really the internal shift. So by the end of this video, I want you to really write down where are the places and who are the people who get the best of you, who get the most of you. And then also write situations. And you can look back. This can be like a review of your year. This can be a review of your life and be like, what were the things that made me feel really icky? Because that's your not self showing, that's your bitterness coming up, where I have pushed, where I have forced, where I have initiated. The main denominator here is that you didn't trust, you didn't have faith, you didn't have certainty in that you are allowed to be in your energetic authenticity without forcing, without pushing, without draining your energy, without pushing for burnout. But that actually when you are relaxed, my girlfriend calls it being a whale, like just being a whale, the mouth open, swimming through the ocean, and the fish are just like innocently flying into your big trap, and that's how you feed yourself. Like you're just like, swimming through the ocean with open arms and letting things come to you. And I really loved when she shared this example when I did a reading for her. So that is the projector vibe. Like the moment that you tap into that knowing, into that certainty, and you remove that energy. So write down the places that you felt uncomfortable, that you felt bitterness creeping up, and then try to see if you can reframe, if you can start a new dialogue within yourself on how you can show up, utilizing your strategy. And this also, and very specifically, goes for dating, okay, my dear projector? Because a lot of times you will have it in your mind, this is the love of my life, this is the person I'm meant to be. And if they do not care, if they don't show interest, if they don't ask you out, unless then they're a projector, then you have open invitations and it can be a bit of an awkward dance, but you'll make it happen. You will both make it happen. If the person that you're interested in as a projector is not reacting, then let rejection be your protection. Because if the universe is not bringing people and opportunities into your life, it's because they were not meant for you. And it doesn't matter how much you think they are meant for you. If they're not reacting, they were not meant for you. So trust that the universe has its best interest for you. And that best interest is for you to trust that in your energetic authenticity, relaxed, doing the things you love, you will generate so much magnetism, so much radiance that you will pull in the right people, opportunities, and chances. And anybody where you feel like you have to step it up and force it is not right for you. Trust the universe. Trust yourself. Trust in your self-worth. Because the consequences are really ugly if you start forcing things and you let people into your life that are not right for you. And it just feeds the negative cycle that we want to break out of. And you know how it goes. You find yourself getting anxious because you're constantly planning for the future. What am I going to do if, when this happens? What am I going to do if that happens? And I don't know if this could happen. And what if I... No. My dearest generator, you're here to respond in the moment. And I will say my, little things that are my 2 cents on being an emotional energy type at the end of the video. But if you're a generator, you're here to respond. And so that is the way that you utilize the divine energy of the universe for you to remove resistance. You will counter resistance in your life if you're trying to move from your mind and you're doing the things you should be doing. I should be initiating. I should be contacting this person because on paper it looks right. Whenever you do something that like your mind is rationalizing you into doing, you've already lost the game, my beautiful generator, because you're hyper fixated and trying to control things with your mind, but you're not listening to the joy, the creativity that your divine sacral center is giving you at all times. And so one of the things that I hate the most on the internet is when the strategy for the generator is waiting to respond. Like I cringe, okay? So if you're following anybody on the internet that says, wait to respond, immediately unfollow. No, do whatever you want. You have your own authority to do that. But I really don't like mixing the words for different energy types and their strategies. I think it's very confusing, especially if we take into account that we have the cellular activation in human design, which basically means that the words in human design carry a certain frequency that awaken your DNA and, help you on your deconditioning process. So there's an auditory awakening that happens deep down in your subconscious from your cells, okay? So if you want to respond as a generator, you need to trust in your gut. A lot of times you will have issues trusting your gut. You know why? Because all of your life you've been trained to go against your gut, right? If you're like, oh my God, I feel like doing that, and your whole family is like, but we don't. Don't be so selfish. Stop, just thinking about yourself. Help us. Do what we want to do. Do what I want to do. You will only get love if you do what I want to do, which is what we call education as parents. Ironically, instead of understanding that we as children or our children have the strong, innate, inbuilt guiding system that will bring us onto the path of our purpose, generators especially, you're going to suffer from that because you're so attuned to trying to please other people, and your worth often comes through doing things for other people because you have the energy to help other people energetically with your, consistency, that you think that you need to sacrifice your desires. And so when you start sacrificing your desires, you start cutting off the communication with your joy, with your juice, with your sexiness, with your creative flow. The moment you cut that off, you stop missing that trust within your response system, because you're constantly responding to everything, responding to an ad, to a color, to a smell, to a person, to clothing, to texture, to sensations, to temperature. Like, you're constantly responding to your environment, right? You have this magnetic aura, you're pulling the right people and opportunities towards you if your sacral is aligned. And so what happens is that you need to follow the strategy, and the strategy of responding requires you to trust in the moment, and especially to trust in yourself. And so the way that you can start trusting in yourself is, even if you're wrong, knowing that you are able to overcome obstacles. We have to take away the fear of failing. We have to remove that negative belief that if we fail at something, we are a failure. No, we're not. We're courageous. We're brave because you did it. And you fell and you got back up. And there's nothing braver than that. You know what's really a sign of being a coward is never doing anything and always trying to keep everything safe. Life will push you out of your comfort zone, that's for sure, because life is the best lesson we have to learn, to grow, to expand. So if you want to avoid life hitting you on the head and teaching you a lesson on being brave and courageous and failing, just confront it. Be proactive, you know? And the other thing is that if you are, drained, if you don't have energy, if you're not excited about life, if you're like working 5 days a week to just have 2 days a week off, and you're dreading to get up in the morning, and you don't have, any sensuality, or you're disconnected from your joy and your desire and like pleasure, then it's really important that you start looking into your coping mechanism, because your coping mechanism often, if you're disconnected from your sacral, is going to be like force. It's going to be masculine energy. It's going to be like, oh, the last 400 years, I've been told I need a strategy and I need to like initiate. And so you will start trying to use your mind in a logical way of like, oh, for my business, it makes sense to contact this person, this person, and this person. No, it doesn't. Stop trying to make sense. Start feeling into your gut. What of these options that you have are going to bring you the biggest satisfaction? And once you understand this hack, once you understand this very clear energetic strategy that will allow you not only to connect to the most incredible aspects of life, which is energy, chi, life force, sexiness, juice, like all of those things, like I need all generators to be lit up in this world so that all of us other non-energetic beings can absorb and amplify that energy. You know what an incredible life we'd all be living if you just had the courage to continue to follow your gut feeling and respond to life instead of trying to control everything with your mind. Not that there's anything wrong with that, because I really don't want you to, have a shameful conversation. It makes sense as humans. Safety, comfort, they're so imperative for us to feel, like we belong. But I need you to break out of that for the good of humanity, really. Like sometimes people get so, immersed in like our own process that we don't realize that you and we have like a butterfly effect. You change something changes on the other side of the world. And that is so beautiful to start understanding. So be courageous, trust yourself, dive into the juiciness, the creativeness, the sensuality of your whole being, and start tuning into the things that you're really excited about, and learn to feel comfortable in creating boundaries. It is okay and it is safe for you to say, no, actually, I don't want to do it. That's okay. Nobody that truly loves you is going to force you to do something you don't want to do. That's weird, okay? And if that means that some people in your life will be removed, my sign, every time I up level, every time there's a new chapter in my life where I make more money and I have more expansion, the people that have been in my life, some of them will not carry along that path with me. My first sign is friends leaving my life. That is my first sign of up leveling. And so that's okay. I've learned to accept it. I've learned to just be okay with that being part of life. So if people can't handle your no, then maybe those people are not the people that are going to support you into your next chapter in life, where you're fully aligned, where you're juicy, joyful in bringing energy into your life. And You can start like now, right? Ask yourself, yes, no questions. Do I like this? Don't I like this? Do I want to wear this? Do I want to wear this other thing? Like allowing your sacral center to have yes and no questions is going to be so much easier than asking yourself broad questions like, what is my 5-year plan? Stop trying to look for your 5-year plan. Please, I beg you, just stop it, okay? There, and you can start with a day, and then you can move on to like a week. What happens? How do you feel energetically alive? How's your digestive system? How is your energy flowing in your body? How are your energy levels? If you really own your desires. Getting so excited, even my earrings are falling off. So what would happen if you own your desires and you started responding to life in the moment, trusting yourself and your capacity to deal with the consequences? So you're finding yourself drained, exhausted, bored AF, and you're just feeling like you're a hot potato that's just jumping around with no clear direction. As a manifesting generator, you're here to be so incredibly curious. You're here to like disrupt all of the patterns. And so it feels so weird to try to explain what you want to do and what nourishes you to other people because you're afraid that people think you're confused. But the only reason that you fear that people think you're confused is because there might be a subconscious belief that makes you think that you are confused. You're not confused, my dearest manifesting generator. You are just so different from what we have learned is acceptable that you're breaking the mold, and by breaking the mold, you're feeling insecure because you're doing things differently. But that is your core strength. That is your divine authentic expression. And so what happens is that the way that you collaborate with the universe and shut off that mind is that you really understand the balance between the yin and the yang that you carry within you. So what happens is you are a hybrid between a generator and a manifestor. So I always recommend to all my manifesting generators that you go always listen to both. You can listen to the manifestor information, you can listen about the generator information and piece them together. I personally really love creating content and talking about you manifesting generators specifically because even though your strategy in the human design system is the same and human design, you know, the old human design 1.0 kind of describes the manifesting generator as a subcategory to the generator. If you've ever met a manifesting generator, you will know no manifesting generator could ever be a subcategory. Like, I have no idea how that ever happened because you're fierce, you're strong, you're independent, you demand attention. So I have no idea how you ever gotten to be thought of as a subcategory. So I don't treat you as a subcategory. Why? Because you deserve it all, my queen, my king. So, manifesting generator, your strategy is to respond, but I really like to break it down because it is not only responding. That would just be looking at your feminine energy, and what we said is that you are hybrid, so we need to piece both things together. We need to piece the feminine energy of the generator and the masculine energy of the manifestor and help you create a roadmap that allows you to tune into both. So what happens is that if you want to remove resistance, if you're unaligned, because you fear stepping into the masculine, because you are afraid of the power your voice holds, which is quite common. Maybe you've been educated to be quiet, not to be loud, not to stand out, which like literally energetically is impossible for you as a manifesting generator. And so you might be hiding between this feminine energy of just doing and being of service. Your voice can get blocked. Like if you have issues, if you feel tightness in your throat, all of these things are signs that you haven't stepped into your full strategy. Because even if your strategy is responding, you still need to use your voice, okay? The yin and the yang. First thing to understand is that when you do the things that you love, when you follow what you think is exciting, that means reading this book, then new workshop in 3 weeks, studying something else, starting a new business, don't allow other people's limitations to hold you back and trying all of the things out, okay? You're not here to learn in a linear way. You're here to learn in a horizontal way. Is that different from what we've been taught? Yes. Is it still okay? Yes, it is actually the only way. for you to shine your light bright and stand out from the crowd. And it will be so useful when you're in a room with people who have learned this one thing and have just been specialized in this one thing and can't break out of that pattern of thinking. And you come in with your like new perspective and you break all the molds, right? And you break through and you open a new path, like that's your destiny. And that's your energetic purpose. And so you need to understand, we have the sacral responding. You always need to connect to your sacral response mechanism first. So that means joy, excitement, juice, permission to follow the things that light you up. Being in the moment, trusting that you're capable. But then, once you are excited and you've removed the logic from your mind, every time you're doing something because you think it's right, you've lost the game. You're out, okay? So, we want to move into our body, want to move into our joy, want to move into our excitement. Yes, this is what I want to do. Okay, cool. Now we get into the second part of your strategy. And I know as a manifesting generator, it gets complicated, especially if you have emotional authority. I will talk about it at the end of the video, but you know, it's really these pieces of puzzle where we're starting to become really nuanced and tweaking and like moving things around. So as a manifesting generator, first, respond. Allow things to orbit. Allow things to come into your orbit that you pull in, okay? Key component. Then once you know what you want and you're excited about, that's when we start using our manifesting voice. That's when we start acting from our masculine. That's when we communicate. That's when we demand. That's when we express. That's when we inform, okay? Yes, I want to work with you. No, I don't want that. Yes, this, that, whatever. Let's do it. Let's get it started. This is what I want. This is what I desire. This is what I think is more comfortable. Why don't we do this and that, right? Like, this is when your voice can come in. And so things will come into your orbit if you're aligned, if you do what you like, if you're not ashamed of being interested in 20 things and starting 10 projects. When you're aligned in your energetic authenticity and you become incredibly magnetic and your aura starts taking force, you will have incredible opportunities and people and chances and abundance come into your life, and then you need to use your voice to nail it down. That's when you go out. That's when you can cold call. That's when you can email. That's when you can reach out. But you can only do those things when you have listened to your gut and when you started responding to the opportunities that life brings to you. Because what can happen is that you're burned out, you've been people-pleasing, you've been using your incredible energy to help everybody else out in your life, your sister, your friend, your parents, your neighbor, your grandma, and then you're drained of energy because you're not doing anything that feeds the fuel in your gut. And so, because you know that you have dominant force, because you know that you're an incredible, powerful being, what are you going to do? You're going to initiate, you're going to force, you're going to demand, and you're just going to overpower the desires of others. You're just going to overpower the ideas, the concepts of others, and people will resent you for it. In the moment, they might not have the energetic, fierce forceness to stand up to you, and they'll be like, yeah, sure, and then you'll never hear of them again. There's a lot of ghosting happening for unaligned manifesting generators, especially if we're thinking about dating, because in your proxy, in your proximity, your energy is so seductive and so magnetic and so powerful that we submit. But then when we're out of the trance of your energetic enchantment, that's when we have autonomy to really feel and sense if what happened was consensual or we were just like energetically seduced. So you need to understand that if you're just acting out of your masculine, you are forcing opportunities, people and chances that are not for you, that are not aligned, and you will get disappointed, projects will crumble, and people will turn out not to be who you thought they are. So just take an assessment on where have been moments in your life, day, last year, last month, today, whatever. Take an assessment and look at where you have been ghosted, where people said yes to you in person and said no to you over text or like once they were removed from your presence. And really look at how you show up with the energetic dominance that you carry inherently. And really be mindful of allowing people space so that they can express themselves, so that they can be them, because that will remove the resistance that there might be and an overcommitment that you might feel that later like fiddles up. So when you do that, just start really showing up in places in your power, but really respecting other people's space and their desire to be heard and to be seen as well, because your energetic dominance, especially if you're foregoing your sacral and you're only in your masculine, will be very powerful, very dominant, and a lot of people might not enjoy that energy. There's some people that are incredibly drawn, and those are going to be your people, but we want you to be the most aligned. We want you to really have this beautiful balance of your sacral and your defined throat as a manifesting generator, showing up authentically aligned, beautiful, sparkling, and juicy, so that you can find your path and remove resistance from your life and really find flow with people cheering you on, sitting at the sidelines and not competing with you. Okay, let's move forward. You have the feeling nobody sees you, nobody really understands you. Even sometimes you might feel like your best friend and your parents don't know who you are, and you're constantly trying to get people to do what you want and telling them what it is you need, but you're not being heard. As a manifestor, you're one of the 8% of the population that has a closed aura. And the reason I'm bringing this up within your strategy is because you need to understand that because your energy is closed off, it often can feel like people don't penetrate to the deepest of your soul, or people have problems really reading you. And so I've never met a manifestor who enjoyed their strategy, but if you want to remove resistance in your life and you want to make life feel easier, start over communicating. That's it. Share what you feel, share what you want, share where you're going, share what you're planning, share your visions, just talk. Talk about your emotions, talk about your visions, talk about your intuition, talk about all of the things that are going on within you. Because every time you open that sweet, cute little mouth, you're opening a window in your closed aura, and people can actually look inside you. And so you're somebody who's often just like wanting to do your own thing. You don't want to be bothered. You're very peaceful when you are aligned. You can get very angry when you're not aligned. And oftentimes when you hear the description of the manifestor, manifestors are like, this is my turn now. I am the most powerful energy type of all. And you are. Don't let anybody fool you. You are. But you don't have to tell us. We sense it. We feel it. It's you. And you not owning that, and you not feeling comfortable with that, or you actually not believing that you are as powerful as you are, that makes you force things when you don't have to, because doors open naturally. We all understand that you are like the Lion King of the jungle. We don't want to get into trouble. We will roll out the red carpet and be like, please, manifestor, just tell us what your vision is for the future. And we will bow to the manifestor, but only when your essence is peaceful. When your essence is anger, when your essence is like, nobody understands me and you should be doing what I want to be doing, nobody likes that. We're like in 2025, nobody likes that energy, right? So as a manifestor, you have to share with people what's going on, what you feel, what you're up to. And this will naturally happen if you haven't been conditioned as a child that you need to be quiet and you're not allowed to express the things that you think and you say, right? Like this is pretty typical. You will be taking up space, and that is okay. You will demand attention without even needing to say anything. That's the magic of being a manifestor. You will enter the room and people will look at you and be like, whoa, who's that? Who's that mysterious person over there, right? And so the important thing here is that as a manifestor, you might think that if you do things just by yourself, like not bothering anybody, if I don't bother anybody, nobody will bother me. Wrong. Beep, beep, wrong. What will happen is that people won't know what you're up to, and then they'll be like, so how are you doing this? And why are you doing this? And how are you making your money? And what's your work? And why do you do this? And you'll get so annoyed that people don't just let you be in your creative force and your creative flow, like following your creative urges. You're going to be so angry that people are bothering you when all you wanted to do is just be left up to your own devices doing whatever you want to be doing. So to remedy that and move with flow and remove resistance, you got to be counterintuitive. Instead of trying to do things without anybody noticing and just going to do my thing here and everybody notices because your aura is powerful. Own that. Know that. Be aware of that. And then you don't have to be loud. And then you don't have to be angry. And then you don't have to be forceful, because your essence, your energetic authenticity will demand the attention that you need to get to where you need to get to. And so by communicating, by opening up that mouth and by sharing what's going on within you, you're actually opening up that closed aura. People will see you and then they will actually leave you alone. They'll be like, oh, okay, got it. You want to do your thing? I'm going to let you do your thing, you know? So I know, never met a manifestor who enjoys informing, but when you start doing it consistently, you will notice the change in your dynamics and you'll be less angry, less frustrated, and be able to tap into that peaceful energy you're meant to spread with the world. So take a look. You can write down today, last week, last month, what have been pieces of information you withheld that created a situation that felt uncomfortable, where you felt resistance? Where did you fail to communicate your desires, your wishes, and your feelings? And once you start looking, you will see a pattern forming. And when you know the pattern, you can start reprogramming that and being aware and be ahead of the game by knowing, oh, this situation usually turns out like that. I forget to inform, so I'm going to try informing. Just try. It's called the human design experiment for a reason. Try to experiment. If you're feeling invisible and like nobody sees all of the wisdom that you hold, it might be because you're actually not open enough to express your whole authentic self. As a reflector, you're here to wait 28 days before you make a decision. And why is this your strategy? Because you are constantly mirroring your environment and the people in your life. And so it is very hard for you to access who you truly are without the constant conditioning. And so the moment that you take time, the moment that you take up space, the moment that you're unapologetic about the way that you energetically operate, that is the moment that you will be able to really own all of your openness, take in the information from the world, and amplify it back out. And so as a reflector, you might often feel invisible because people don't get a sense of who you are. Either you are too rigid, holding on to like a persona that you've built up to get a sense of self, or you're just in this constant exchange of being the person you have in front of you without really being aware of this, you know, taking in of energy from the external and confusing who you are with who you have in front of you. And so the reason you need those 28 days is because it allows you to embody all of the aspects of the transits of the energy that pass through you. And at the same time, it allows you to differentiate like, oh, this is my influence and this is me. This is the influence of today and this is me. This is the influence of the person, of the environment, and this is me. And so the moment you take up space and you're able to really swiftly change, take in, expand, and let go, you're accelerating the process of diving into your authentic energy. And when you're trying to do things rapidly, or you're being too fast to make decisions, to compromise, then you're actually doing that from the reflection of the environment of the person you're with, losing yourself in the process. So you might think that that is the, you know, easiest thing to do because it's what you feel in the moment, and you might feel this really strongly. But when you start understanding that nothing that was meant for you will pass you by, and no opportunity that can't wait for you to act out of energetic authenticity is meant for you, you will start becoming invincible. And it is really that magic that you're experiencing. It is that surprise that you experience as a reflector when you start allowing openness and this non-defining version of yourself to show up. When you allow yourself to change, to adapt, to move, and to freely shift from one personality to the next, this is what happens, the floodgates of magnetism, of radiance, of, you know, that captivating energy. And my favorite reference is Amma. Amma is this woman that travels around the world and gets paid to hug people. Why? Because in the reflector embrace, you're just like hugging yourself. There's this healing opportunity, but also because you as a reflector are here to call out on people's BS. You're the one who reads them better than they read themselves, and you're able to discern what is authentic, what is fake. You really have this capacity of, you know, bringing so much wisdom into the world just by being who you are and showing up as your authentic self without needing to force things, without needing to niche down, without needing to like, you know, pretend you have it all figured out. And in that openness, that freedom, that expansive energy, you're here to really just make people feel seen, make people feel heard. Like, you have such a great capacity of just, you know, mirroring back what the other person is going through and really showing them what it is they're going through and not only their own perception of that. So when you start waiting that 28 cycle, when you start moving with the loom, when you start understanding your cyclical being and really embodying that, you will rise to new magnetizing, radiant experience will allow your life to be so much more easier. You're gonna make it harder for yourself if you're trying to narrow down, over controlling, over, micromanaging, not allowing any spontaneity because you're afraid of tapping into that bigness. You're afraid of tapping into that openness. You're afraid to letting go of preconceived notions. And when you do, you will see how incredible things are working out for you. So I want you to really journal it out. Like when you have been out into the world and you've absorbed and you've mirrored and you've been in environments and people, I want you to come back home and write out what it is you can discern from the energy you've taken in versus your energy that's cursing within you. Like really, you need to come back to that blank canvas. You can write down all of the things that you've felt, that you've seen, that you've realized, that you've analyzed, write them out and let them go. Because they are not you, they are what you've absorbed. And when you can start doing that consistently, you're starting to really understand what are you and who are you versus what is the world around you, what are you picking up. And that is an incredible energetic intelligence that will allow you to really step into who you've come to be and shine your light bright. So what we need to understand if you are emotional, meaning you have an emotional authority, is that even though this is your strategy, the moment that you're going through an emotional wave, it can deter your capacity for thinking. You will be so in your higher, your low, that it will burn out any rationale, any kind of capacity to make sense of things, okay? So when you have an emotional authority, embrace that emotional wave, allow it to teach you something. Don't tell yourself a story, and maintain strong on your strategy, because even though the emotional wave will, bring a whirlwind into a chaos into what you're feeling, every time you pass through a low of your emotional wave, you come out of there more enriched, deeper, broader, with a better, bigger vessel to expand into the life you want to have. So allow it to be something that teaches you, but never let it override your strategy. Take a break then. If you're going through an emotional turmoil and you're going through the emotional wave, take a break, but never compromise your strategy on anything. Oftentimes, we believe that things have to be hard. And life will teach us lessons if we're not able to overcome our obstacles in an aligned way. Obstacles only come into our life to show us that we have gotten off track. The more you utilize the strategy, the easier your life will be, the more flow you will feel, and the less you will have to face life's rock bottoms and life's lessons, because you are already moving with flow, because you're 2 steps ahead, because you're already aligned, because you're moving with integrity, with energetic authenticity. So actually, even though it can feel hard or scary to follow the strategy in the human design system, once you do, it will alleviate all of the other life lessons, because you are already doing the thing you need to be doing, and life doesn't have to teach you how to get back onto the path of your purpose. And so if you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. It really does mean the world to see this community grow. I'm so grateful for your time. If you have any questions, if you have any feedback, please let me know in the comments below. And again, thank you so much for being here, for showing up for your highest self. And remember, I don't care what anybody says, I love you.